Welcome to Trash Talk. I'm Lane.
And I'm Tony. Chase.
Wow. Okay. I had something all ready to go. I was like, dude, I'm the third wheel. I'm ready to tear it up.
It throws
I'm Tony.
you off.
Yeah, then you're like, I'm Tony. No, I'm Tony.
Oh, fuck.
But this is Tony, and that's Chase.
Yeah.
And then we have another guest today.
Hello, this is Julie.
Welcome back.
They're back.
Thanks.
We're not as drunk this time.
Very happy to be back.
But we will be.
Drunk.
Yeah. It's just starting.
Yeah, no, this is this is gonna be a special episode. I feel like it's gonna be awesome.
Big episodes planned out because we have no guidelines today. We don't.
I mean, we got two topics: silence and Huskers.
Silence and Huskers. Should we get...
Yes, let's start with silence because that's the important part. That's what we need to talk about because that's
So be
what matters.
silent, Chase.
I am.
No, you could talk.
No, this is cool. This is cool. I want to know all about it.
Lane, I guess let's intro it. I don't know what you want to do. If you just want to let her talk.
Well, I
what do you
mean,
wanna do?
I have not seen it. Like I said, I'm planning on searching on Amazon, purchasing it.
I know. I want to watch it
watching
and be like, I know that girl that made this. That's cool.
Yeah, maybe we could do it right after this podcast or something.
Just wait. You'll be able to say that about a lot of other productions, too.
Ooh, other things moving forward.
There's a lot of
You
stuff
just
working out there.
dropping bombs.
There's a
Just
lot of
like,
stuff working out there.
I'm scared to talk about these kind of things, and you're like, you just wait. That's coming. I'm like, it's just like, I heard people talking about things. Like, damn, go for it. Tear it up. Do you?
Well,
Be proud of your
that
shit.
last feature is going to come
I
out in
know.
spring. My name's all over that thing.
That's
Alright.
always a good feeling. See your credits or whatever. Yeah.
Red carpet, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
That's right.
Nice. So,
If it's in Nebraska, is it a Go Big Red Carpet?
Fuck yeah. This is the Go Big Red Carpet, and I'm going to call it that
Roll out
just
the
because
red
you
carpet
just
as
said
long as it's got a
that.
big N right in the middle of it.
Love it.
It's my Go Big Red carpet.
especially if it's on a Saturday, though,
Right?
too, you know?
Right?
I could be diva and totally make that request. You better put an N in that carpet before
Yeah.
I walk down there.
Coming out in the stunning red sequined Nebraska dress.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hell
With my
no.
Converse. Yep.
All right. So, yeah, lead us off, baby.
What all I know is that this is a film that you made,
It is.
and it's a little bit of a different type of film.
It is.
Can you call it experimental?
No.
No.
Not experimental.
Non-abstract.
It's yeah. Well, it's a short film.
Realism.
Definitely. I'd like to call it a shock and awe.
Ooh.
That's definitely the approach that I went
yeah,
for.
that's the
Absolutely.
seat grabber or whatever
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you a little
you'll
story.
understand that when you watch it.
It actually started out, not a lot of people know this, but Silence started out as a music video for the song Zombie by the Cranberries.
Oh, wow.
Really?
And I was actually reaching
Was
out
that when
to...
she died?
She died within the process.
Oh.
So I had actually been in contact with her and her group and told her what I wanted to do. I already had a script written out, and they loved it, and they were all for it. And but they'd sold the rights already, and so then I had to go through months of waiting through Warner Music to get the rights to do this use this song for this little tiny short film in Omaha, Nebraska, which has no money and no budget, and they don't give a fuck about what I want or what I
like
need.
Your art, not important. We want our money.
Right. So it sucked because I had the backing from these people who, Dolores wrote the song about her own brother and his PTSD from this Irish war. And so it really sucked because she knew about it. She knew about the project. And I was actually reaching out to talk to her because they were on tour in Peru. And I know another musician in Peru who's kind of big and does that scene. And so I'd contacted him and said, hey, are you going to be doing this music festival? Because I need to talk to Dolores, and I can't get a hold of her. And he said that his photographer was actually her photographer. And then he sent me some pictures of her and his photographer, and that was pretty cool. But anyway, I didn't get to talk to her, but he asked. He's like, hey, so why do you need to talk to her? And I said, well, this is what I did. I did this music video. I need the rights for her song, and I'm going to just have her remake the song because I can't get a hold. I can't get those rights from Warner Music. It was taking way too freaking long if I was going to continue to badger them about it. So it was just like going into dead space over there. So I felt like I was at a standstill. I had nothing. Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, okay, we got to go about this a different way. And being she wrote the song, she could do a new music video for that and use that song, but with a different band. And my friend's band had volunteered to do this with her. And so they were all in Peru at the same time. So he's like, yeah, I could do that. Well, send me the script and let me check it out. And that guy ended up offering his multiple services, becoming my partner, and saying that he wanted to take over this project with me. So he became the director. Michael Spitzer. If you watch the movie, when you watch the movie, you'll see his name is on there. Mm-hmm. You'll see his name's on there, but my director and my DP are both from South America, and that brought so much to this film. I can't even begin to tell you the different levels that it took it to.
Crazy. Your director of photography?
My director.
Well, they all must have shared, some love for the song and just felt the emotions already right off the back or whatever. You must have had a really good script, essentially, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. And the story that you see actually in this movie, it follows the script that I wrote. But the crazy part about it was that when I started doing research and reaching out to these veterans and talking to people, I found out that I wrote their story. And like we were talking about earlier, there's interviews at the end of it. Everyone in this film, they're real veterans and their families and their supporters. There's no actors, actresses in this movie. So all of these people, and nobody got paid. Every single person did it for free. They all volunteered. They all did it because they believe in the cause, and it was to spread awareness of PTSD. Mm-hmm. And so every single person, did it with taking nothing out of it other than being able to say that they were a part of it. And these 3 veterans, so I have these live interviews at the end, and one of the veterans at the end, I had already written her story. So when I heard her interview after she was done, I'm like, this is, it was meant to be. It was meant to be. Literally, one of the veterans I had for the live interview lived out the entire story I had written before I ever even met her. Wow. Because the story is so frequent. Because I had heard and met so many people that have this exact same story that it was ironic, crazy coincidence.
It is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So it totally played into, it made it all.
It fits well.
It made it wholly tied. It ties the whole thing in.
True.
Well, and yeah, knowing that, like I said, when having been in the military, when I watched it, I could see, because we talk about how the word that she always gets told when people watch it is powerful. It's it's something that's it's hard to watch. Like, you ever seen something that's just hard to watch, but it's not because it's bad in any way. But you're like, oh shit, like that's
Saving
real.
Private Ryan
for
me.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's just, but it's something you need to watch, like, because it's not fake. Like, it's the kind of shit that happens all the time. And having been in the military, like, about it, you hear about it, and it's there. Like I said, to me, the military has always been judged as a single entity. Like, people just always think of it as, well, it's the military. And it's like, one, it's not even just beyond branches. It's not, the military. There's the Marines, there's Air Force, there's different branches. But beyond that, it's just all the military is just a microcosm of the world that we live in. Like, you're going to see people in the military that are jocks. There's people that are nerds. There's people that are, did this, they did that. They're going to be the same people that you'd meet in the regular world. They just kind of wear one uniform, and they share, one kind of goal or one... not even goal, I guess, but one thing they have in common. They're either serving their country for one reason or another, whatever that reason is. So it's like you're just taking different parts of the world, putting it together. So anything you see, anything that you ever heard about in the world that's ever happened, it's happened in the military, and it probably still happens, continues to happen, but you don't really think of it that way. Everybody just compartmentalizes the military as its own thing, and everybody in there's I hate to talk. I'm not trying to talk shit, but everybody's great and everybody's wonderful. They're just servicemen and women, and that's what they do. And it's like they hold them to this high pedestal, and they realize they don't think about them as they're people. They go through shit. Mm-hmm. You know, when their lives suck just like your life. Your life sucks. Sometimes their lives, you know, sometimes they go through good, they go through bad. It's the same shit.
Well,
people don't realize it.
Why it's like a huge family, though, right? You know,
in a way, well, yeah, it has to be because, and it goes with cops, and paramedics, any of that kind of service people, and it's a big thing where like cops married to civilians, their marriages fail 90% of the time, and the only reason is because you go through shit, you see shit that to you is normal. To you, you've learned to compartmentalize it, you've learned to deal with the stress, but you can't come home and be like, oh, so how was your day? Oh, it was great. What'd you do today? Oh, well, we had to arrest this guy that molested his 3 kids, and you can't tell that story and then have that person expect that person to understand what you're going through. So you can't, even though you can tell them all you want, they don't know, they don't understand that shit because it does shit to you. Like it's, you know, so it's important and you need to watch it because it happens all the fucking time, but it never gets brought out. And it's because, but people in the military see it and they know it. So it's definitely, I would recommend it more for people that don't know the military, have never been a part of the military, they don't really know that shit.
So this is perfect because my stepbrother just signed up for the military. Leaves for basic like a month away.
Good for
this
him.
Is actually I was just a family member of the military. I was I tried to join a couple times and I was denied. I had kids and it was wartime and I was a single parent, so they wouldn't take me. But
I can see that.
But either way, when I say family, I mean my entire family. Like I have within my close realm, I have at least 15 members of the military. My mom and both my dads included in that. So anyway, I was the family member though, and I was around it my entire life. But people always assume that your life is, you're in the military and your parents are doing good and your family's doing good and you're respected and you're honored, and I am totally about that. But they truly don't see the shit that you go through that normal people, just like any emergency services, because they go through it. The cops, when they go to work during, at the beginning of the day, they have no fucking idea if they're going to come home that night. I mean, do you have a job where you're fear for your life every day? I mean, like that is like that's a different kind. That's a different level of person. That's a different characteristic of individuals that all share that, and that's how they become family, because they all have that level. Because I don't want to worry about my life every day. I don't want to do that. And there's a whole bunch of people out there who will never sign that dotted line because they don't want to worry about their life every day either. But thousands of us, it's actually only 1%, which is crazy, of Americans.
It's ridiculously
1% are brave enough to sign that dotted line and risk what they have, which is also sacrificing time with their family, which people don't think about. They don't realize that the moms are left there to raise those kids on their own, and they're away. They have no idea, no way to communicate with their families. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have email. We didn't have that stuff back then. So when my dad was gone, he was gone. He was just gone. Yeah. We didn't. Dad's back. Yeah. Awesome. Great.
Yeah, there's actually a really There's a really big moment in your movie that I was thinking about when I was watching it, because I watched it with my mom. My mom actually suffers from PTSD too, but she's not. She was never service, but she was a paramedic on a firefighter crew, which you see some messed up shit, and that's what she has problems with, and that's why I was always proud. Like, not only was I in the military, and I think you know all this, but I was in the military. I was also a cop and a firefighter, so I did kind of experience all of it.
Got a lot of families.
Oh yeah, and one of the things that when Julie was just saying that made me think about that was like, everybody was asked what was better, cop, firefighter, and I'm like, firefighter's easy in a way that nobody hates firefighters. Mm-hmm. Like, it just doesn't happen. Everybody loves firefighters because they put out the fires. They save lives. People hate cops, because they can deny your
have
freedom.
tough
They can do
decisions
without
to make,
even having met a cop, they hate a cop. Like, I got cussed at, and there's just so much. Yeah, when you go to a job where people literally just hate you because of a job, so it's a thing that you don't really experience until you experience it. But it's I don't even remember where I was going with this point, but
it's a hard life.
It is a hard knock life.
People don't.
I mean,
unless you're in that
and
family.
all you have to do is have one family member, just one that you talk to, and you'll see there's a huge difference. It's.
Yeah.
But my point of that was that because a lot of people, so being the family member and friends, the reason I made this movie was from my experience. I wanted to be able to forward that on as a warning, as an awareness to all of those who have people joining the military now. This movie is based on the war that we are still in today. 3 different generations of the same family, same war. This is still happening. This war is still freaking going on. You can have 4 or 5 generations of the same family fighting this freaking war. Do you know how many deaths that is? Do you know? I mean, we're not programmed to be okay killing people.
Yeah.
So but when you're born into a military family, like, you do feel that that's your role. You're supposed to follow the other people in your family and do that. That's why I always felt like I wasn't doing the right thing, right? So this was my way of doing the right thing, because I wanted to warn the family and friends out there of the signs to look for so that we can help these individuals, these soldiers that return back and are not given any kind of transition. They're not given any kind of directions, any kind of guidelines. They're just like, oh, hey, or especially if you get dishonorably discharged or if you get medically discharged, they're like, see ya.
Yeah.
I mean,
no
my
healthcare.
ex-husband, he was put on a bus and got home, and his wife had left and took in his kids while he was gone, so he freaking came home to nothing.
Wow.
All he did was drive a tank and fight a war for people.
He had been forced to kill a freaking child, and it fucked him up, and so he came home because he had his own kids. Like, can you imagine what that would be like to have a kid aiming his gun at you? He had to make that choice, him or me, and it fucked him up.
Yeah.
Any normal person would be fucked up from that. Oh, yeah. Some people decide to, go somewhere with that and get the help. Some people are totally lost because everyone around them just judges them, thinking that they're fucking crazy, thinking that they're, non-social, thinking that they're assholes, thinking that they're abusive, that they can't hold their whatever. They judge way too fast.
And so the older brother or the little brother that started the war that you got called into doesn't have your back anymore. Like, that's how I always felt about the military. Me and Julie have had this conversation. If you're familiar with Troy, like even the movie, like if you know the story of Troy and Hela of Troy and all
the
that.
Odyssey.
So basically,
Iliad.
So Paris wants a woman because he's a little douchey guy, and he starts a war, calls on his older brother, hey, I can't fight because I suck. I just started this war, though. Hey, you got my back? Brother dies. Oh, cool. Bummer. Like, that's how I always felt like the military was like. It's like they go out, start shit, and like over their own issues and problems, and then call in. Let's find every poor person that we can find that doesn't have nothing else. We can promise them money and all this, and you're going to have to pay for this. We'll pay for you, shit. But guess what? You're going to go out. You're going to go fight a war. If you live, cool. If you don't, whatever. We don't care. We got more people. And you come back, oh, you're fucked up. We're not really our problem anymore.
I think even if you don't go to a war,
it was
the
worse than numb,
military can
but
still
it hasn't
fuck
gotten
you
much
up,
better.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. But that's... There are some people that, it's just not... The military's not meant for everybody. And it's definitely... It's a thing.
Yeah, but like just leaving the military in general. Because you've
It
had,
can be,
like,
because it's regimented.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, and it's almost close to, I would imagine, like, I've never been to prison, but it sounds, I guess, weird. But in prison, it's regimented. You're told what to do. You do this at this time, and that's easy trap to fall into. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have to worry about shit. Oh,
your schedule.
You get your tooth hurts. Oh, there goes the dentist right there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to worry about shit. Like, everything's taken care of for you. You're basically being babysat the whole time.
Yeah.
And then shit pops off, and they're like, "Here's a gun. Go there. You go." Like, I know we haven't really taught you to grow up and be your own person, but there you go. So it's like, it's weird.
Defend the flag.
It's a weird dichotomy that happens in the military, but it's like, Yeah, I don't know. I support the shit out of every service member, every person, like she said, everybody that signs a name on the dotted line, man. Like, that's an important thing, and it's a big deal. Like, you're signing away literally your life. Like, they pretty much own you. Like, when people talk about, oh, the military must make good money, I'm like, if you look at it on an hourly basis, maybe. But guess what? You work for them 24/7. We figured it out one time, and I think I was an A1C, which is an E3, and I was making 12 cents an hour, essentially. Because you're at their beck and call at all times. Like, if they literally call you 1 in the morning and you're sleeping, you're like, you got to come into work, you go into work and you're working. So you're literally working for them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the time. So you're essentially making 12 cents an hour.
The important thing to remember, though, is that even though they come home, some of them don't get to come home. So just because they are sent home from war or sent home from deployment or whatever, some shit that they see never goes away. So
they don't always come home.
They're always
not the same.
No, it's not the same.
And that one dude
something changes.
That one dude, oh God, what's that guy's name? He has the tattoo on his hand. He was in it.
Joshua Dean.
Oh, that dude speaks some real shit at the
Omaha.
end. Yeah, that dude speaks some real shit at the end. And oh God, like the way he talks about it, and he was like, people say this, people say that, and he goes, go live what I lived and see how you feel. Like, you come back different. He goes, it's just different. You notice things are different, and it's just like there's no way to explain it until you've seen it. There's a distance in the eyes. There's you're not there. You're so concerned with this. You're used to being on guard all the time, and then you're supposed to come back and run a 9 to 5 and just have like nothing happened. Like you can't do that. You can't spend 4 years watching your back constantly, and then I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I gotta run down the street.
Some of our good friends in Columbus went to the military and came back. You hung out with them recently,
Anthony?
Yeah, and Travis.
Yeah.
See?
They
do they feel different? Do they seem different? Just
they talk about it every once in a while.
They would when they were coming back and forth.
Yeah,
they saw him in between their
2 weeks and then go back. That'd be fucking hard.
No, he was back for a while. I thought Anthony.
And that's the other thing you get is, are they different? Well, when they talked about it, because a lot of them just don't talk about it.
No, it was in the back of their mind at all times.
Oh, yeah.
You could tell, like, oh man, you could tell they didn't want to go back. They could tell they were having fun with us, But they signed up together because they can't go alone,
Yeah, and it's not even a fun thing, but it's just this isn't like I feel like I'm comfortable. Like, I don't feel like I could die at any second right now. Like, that feeling is an overlooked feeling that people take advantage of, that they're so used to not feeling that. That it's just, I mean, like I said, having done all those jobs, like any moment, I could just fucking die. Somebody could have a bad day, and that's it. And then that's your job. That should not be in your job description. I don't care what your fucking job is. That should not be in the job description. Like, hey, you might die. Like,
I mean, I'm not trying to make light of this, but I have a constant fear of mountain lions. Every moment of the day.
You probably don't want to go be a guide out in the woods, would you?
Like, I love going out in the woods,
but being a forest ranger might be a little sketchy sometimes. You'd be like, what's that?
What's that? In charge of parks and recreation.
Yeah, like that might not be your job. Like,
I'm just saying, though, like, I know everyone has fears, but it's completely different.
When it's for your life?
Yeah.
And it's
when it's like a human too that like could shoot you at any point,
a human, or you could step in the wrong place, or you could freaking not even have any idea, and all of a sudden the store you're in blows up. I mean,
guerrilla warfare tactics.
I have no freaking idea.
It's not even that. I mean,
I think about that, like going into restaurants and shit with my kids with some crazy gunman comes in. It could happen. Fucking happens all the time.
I still have things.
We're just walking in the store to get a 6-pack of beer, and then all of a sudden you're getting fucking shot at. It's like,
I've been out for almost 20 years, and I still carry things with me that I learned in the 4 years that I was in the military. Like, it was so ingrained in you that there's still things that I do subconsciously, subconsciously.
Can I have an example?
Yeah. I won today, and it happens all the time. I can't, if I go to a restaurant or if I go public places, I have to sit like with my back against the wall. I like to see everything that happens.
Know your exits.
I know my exit, and we joked about it. I'm like looking for exit doors and shit. Like, and it's just a thing, and it's between the military and being a cop and all that shit. Where I'm just used to. I don't like having my back exposed. I like seeing that shit, and it's just like it's a thing, and I never realized it until people would point it out, and they're like, "Cause I'll walk around a table and be like, nope, I'd rather have it." Like, I was torn today.
You want to see who's coming in.
I'm trying to watch football. The big screens are over here. the doors are over here. So I'm like, fuck, do I want to watch the football really good? Nope, I'm going to sit over here.
I want to bring up something that Chase said, though, that as far as like he going into places and watching for keeping his eye out because he thinks of those shooters, right? That never used to happen back in the day, but that just goes to bring up the point that it's not just military. That is totally not what I'm saying by this movie. The world's having
PTSD.
Yes. The reason that there are no words in this video is because I wanted it to be able to go out to the entire world and not have to be translated because any single person out there could be affected by anything. Whether you were in the Von Mar, I can't go into a Von Mar without thinking about that because I was at that mall. Like
everyone's mind.
I can never I can never not think about it. But thankfully, I wasn't in there and I didn't see that stuff. I just had that fear, so automatically I always think about that. So PTSD affects everyone, and the thing is that the biggest thing for PTSD and those who have it is to let them know that they're not the only ones. If they seriously find those people who, just like the family, honestly, what I've seen help the most is for them to get back together with those exact same people that experienced that exact same stuff that they did, because the camaraderie and being there for one another, being there for your brother, knowing and saying shit. I was just sitting there with a gun in my head the other day, brother. I know exactly what you're talking about, and because he knows that you're not full of shit, he's gonna listen to you because he was there the other day when you were down. Because it's the 4th of July, or your fucking wife left, or your fucking dog died, or you just had a bad fucking day. They are able to relate to something with that, and that's at the end of the movie. So the shock and awe thing at the end of the film, there's a list of organizations out there for people to get help because there's so many people out there who want to help. And almost, I would say probably 90% of those organizations are all veteran owned. They're literally other veterans trying to get out there and help other veterans. So these aren't just people trying to help. These are people who totally get what you're going through. They are one of you. Yes, exactly. So that's why it should be more encouraging. And when I said it was for family and friends, those organizations are listed out there so people can find their info very easily, typing it into Google. And being the family member, even though I was a family member of the military, I had never been introduced to PTSD until my ex-husband. My family was Air Force and Navy. My dad was in Vietnam War way before I was ever born, and he never talked about it. I have no idea of his experiences with Vietnam, and I'd never been introduced to...
Those people got it rough.
I'd never been introduced to PTSD, so I was a kid, so I had no idea, right?
Dude, those people got spit on. They got, as bad as we think we treat, our government, as bad as I think the government treats our veterans now. Fuck, that wasn't just the government treating people. It was, you come home, people were literally spitting on people. And there's this guy, Gary, he goes to Bushwhackers, and Gary fucking...
Rambo.
Dude, Gary's the shit. Gary is the man. He's got that old man strength. He would kill you, even though he looks feeble, but he would ruin your world. Because this dude did 2 tours in Vietnam. But I was like, I've talked to him about it before because he knows I was in the military, so we've had discussions and shit. And I was just like, man, I still feel like I should apologize for the way y'all were treated, because I'm like, that was bad. As bad as it is now, it was way worse then.
And imagine that was draft. That was when draft. Those people didn't want to sign the dotted line. They were forced to go, and then they were made fun of for it.
Question: do the veterans of Vietnam? They have the VFW, right?
Yes.
They get to use the VFW.
For anybody who goes to a foreign war.
Technically, it's veterans of foreign war.
I'm pretty sure, though, that are Iraq and Afghanistan veterans allowed to use it?
Yes, absolutely.
But I thought they kind of...
If you're a veteran, you can go
They
there.
want...
Any vet can use the VFW.
They want younger members. Yes. Trust me, because I've done multiple showings of this.
A lot of their membership is older people.
They are trying to encourage the younger people, because they say that the young people come in, they see all these old dudes sitting at the bar, and they think it's just for all old dudes. Well, it's because those dudes of the foreign war, last time there was a foreign war before your dad, was your it was a long time ago because it is
sure.
for veterans of foreign war, which means you've been on foreign soil in a war.
And I'm pretty sure
it's not like all military.
I think VFWs are dying out too.
See, that's what I was wondering. What are they?
The American Legions and
Are
the
they
VFWs,
Legions, all those.
They want
American
the younger.
Legion have
Yes.
team together with something?
No, they want the younger veterans.
Maybe it's the
They
Legions.
want
Yeah, any
younger
service member
military.
ever is allowed in the Legion.
In the Legion.
Yeah, that's full.
What do
The
they
VFW
do
is
for you, though? What does a VFW do for...
Put you with people that
Yeah,
serve.
they can. Well, I mean,
you're all there together.
If
just
you go
like
to the
I was
VFW,
just saying,
you
it's
go to
just
the
another place.
It's just
though.
essentially a club.
basically,
Yeah.
It's common experience.
They
sort of
help
things.
you find a job or something.
You never
Well,
been to a VFW?
If you
I mean,
actually go to a VFW,
For like,
just like a
graduation parties.
you can go to a
restaurant.
VFW or a Legion. Like they do food. Like they serve food. Like
Alcohol.
it's a bar.
Yeah,
They do all that shit
No,
too.
there's
but
other
the
organizations
organizations, like it's all run by organizations. But like if you actually went to a physical brick and mortar VFW or they have events there. They do all that kind of shit.
Okay.
Like the Legion. I used to go to the Legion with my grandpa. It was like before he died. It was like one of the cool things that we always did. We'd go to the Legion, and when I was a kid, we used to always pull pickles. I don't know if you ever pulled pickles.
Oh, yeah.
Like the
pickle cards.
The pickle cards.
Oh.
And,
Like lottery cards?
Yeah, the little lottery cards. You just
Sounds kind of sexual.
No,
I
pickle
did. I
cards.
didn't mean. I didn't even think about that. You fucking pervert.
Not
But
with
so
this
the pickle
grandpa.
cards,
Come on.
that
Can I
was-
get a Duval?
That was a family thing where we would go, and Grandpa was in the war, so we would all, hang out with Grandpa at the VFW or the Legion or whatever. And after I joined, then I started going. I actually became a member of the Legion because my grandpa was in the Legion. So I was like, oh yeah, it was a me and Grandpa thing. We'd go. They'd have like spaghetti dinners. They always have fundraisers.
Yeah,
they do a lot
pancakes.
of that shit. But it was a cool place where they would hang out. They would have people in common, people to talk to. Like even though a lot of the times we were there, they weren't talking about their experiences. They were just talking about daily life. But you always knew like. We have been through a lot of the same shit. So I can talk to you, oh, so how's the family and kids? Oh, they're great, And you don't have to be like, well, you remember that time? Okay, so back in the day, like you don't ever have to explain yourself because everybody knows. So it's just a real chill place for vets to go. It's
not like you walk in and they're like, how many people did you kill?
Yeah, no,
Nothing
it's
like that.
no, dude. A lot of times they don't talk about war. They don't talk. They want to get away from that shit. A lot of them don't talk like that shit. Like, and it's a thing where they always, because, I don't know if it happens anymore. I don't really around those people, but I was because I've run into these people. I was a sniper and this, and I killed this many people. I was like, who the fucking people that were snipers? You don't know because they don't talk about it. Like it's not the people that talk about it weren't the people that did it. Like because that's not shit you brag about. It's not shit.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about it.
Unless you're a fucking psychopath, you're not proud of how many people you killed. Like
my grandpa was in Korea.
Yeah,
But
back,
my grandpa said he never talked about it at all.
Because it's not.
People would ask him questions. He'd just be like,
Cecil?
It's not fun to talk about.
Cecil was in the Navy. My mom's dad, Jerry, was in Korea.
Okay.
See, this is hence the reason silence. Silence is actually the name because it's the silence that comes along with PTSD and veteran suicide.
But he was really quiet all the time.
They don't ever talk
I don't know what the
because
fuck.
they don't want to talk about it.
I wish I could have asked what
Absolutely.
but I was too young. I didn't.
Do you want to know one of the biggest things that we talk about is that every day 22 veterans commit suicide. I don't know if you guys knew that.
I knew it was a staggering number.
Yeah, every day. It's actually over 22 U.S. veterans because those are only the registered ones. Those are only the ones that are registered with the VA.
Suicides of everyone. Like, not even a lot of other people kill themselves besides veterans.
In the wartime, yes. In the wartime, we've actually killed more of ourselves than have been killed by the enemies. Yep.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I believe it.
In the span of making this movie,
Wow.
over 3 years, there was over 400,000 veteran suicides.
Well, holy shit!
How many in the war altogether? Do you know?
I would have. Yeah, I'd have to look up the numbers again because the last time I looked it up was at the beginning when I started.
We didn't
doing
bring
stuff,
stats. I apologize.
But yeah, you could look it up.
Just trust me, all right?
But either way, we were just talking about the American Legion, the VFW. Well, the scary part is that more than half of those 22 are grandpas, are Vietnam vets, are World War II vets, are the Korean War vets, are the people who never talked about it. And they've never talked about it this entire time. So they don't know how to deal with it.
They're also from a generation where you don't talk about
feelings.
Talk about it. You don't, whether it's military or not, you don't talk about feelings because that's how our grandpas were raised. That's how, the tough old guys. You don't talk about that shit. It's just, you just deal with it and you just deal with it. Well, they don't, of course, back then they didn't realize, you keep pushing that shit down, it's going to fucking explode. And, they didn't realize mental health back then. There wasn't a thing.
Nope, they just drank.
Yeah, they just, drink and then beat your wife and you'll feel better. And then people grew up seeing that, thinking that was normal. And, it's a fucking cycle, man, just like anything. And it's just...
super cool part about this is that we've held public viewings of this, and the public viewings that we hold of silence have been at the VFWs and the American Legions. And the amazing part is that there's always people who talk about it. There's always someone in the crowd who, after we do a Q&A kind of deal, and someone
20,000.
And someone stands up and
total
talks about it and
really
breaks the silence. There's always someone coming up to me after and talking about it and like, hey, I've never.
She was telling me about that
it.
on this last viewing they had, where this guy, was just like, I want to talk about it, and she was kind of like,
I said,
now?
Well,
what do you mean?
Well,
like, let's do it. Like, if you want to, and this was like his.
He came up
saw it and was
and
like, I want to talk about.
He's like, I never talk about it, and I don't know how to talk about it, and I'm like, well, do you want to talk about it? And he looked at me, he's like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, let's go outside and talk about it.
But he knows that she understands, and it's like you don't have to be military to talk about
empathy.
This shit. Like, you just have to understand, like,
that's all it is knowing that these people are human. No one wants to go through the things that they see. You don't want to see burning bodies. You don't want to see freaking decapitated kids. You don't want to see that stuff. Nobody wants to see that shit.
A lot of people that join the military are from poorer backgrounds. They're trying to escape,
looking for a way out.
They're trying to escape the shitty situation that they're in, and the recruiters show up to their school and they're like, hey, we got GI Bill and we got this and health and dental insurance, we'll take care of you and you can get all this, and that sounds great than what I have to look forward to. And then you sign up and you're like, oh, by the way, you gotta go to war. And it's just like, dude, like, fuck, that's what I was just trying to get away from, this kind of shit. And so, I mean, it's definitely shit that needs to be talked about, because it doesn't get talked about. I think it gets pushed in the back. I think and it's not even
suicide, then we're killed in combat.
Yeah, and it's not even, and that's the thing, this is a military,
we're literally
strong film, obviously.
Sounds
like,
but
PTSD
America
comes in so many forms and shapes. And like I said, my mom didn't serve military, but she was a paramedic. She was, a firefighter. She seen a lot of more shit than a lot of people have. Like, and it's. If you don't know how to deal with it,
and you don't even have to be in that. I mean, the biggest thing is sexual assault, child abuse, anything like that. When you go through that kind of stuff as a kid or any time in your life, I mean, that's not stuff that you get over, and that's not combat. And those people get completely ignored because the government doesn't care unless you served the country. Then they'll throw 15 pills your way and tell you to, call
lucky.
in a year. But but those other people, like the number of women who are sexually assaulted is insane. And to think that they still have to go to work the next day, they probably still have to work with the same dude if he's not freaking, if something's not taken care of.
The very next day.
I mean, like, do you know that would feel like,
and
that's addressed in there too, because that's super important. And the reason my two buddies, other than the fact that they love me because I'm sweet, South American buddies came over because the number one crime in their world and their country is crime against women and sexual assault. And so that is addressed in this film, and they wanted to bring it there because they want to bring attention to it there too, so that we can make sure to make a difference somewhere.
Oh yeah,
it comes in all
more
forms,
people
man.
are acknowledged or whatever.
Absolutely, because they're not a military country, so it's been very cool because this film actually premiered at the Omaha Film Festival in March, and then it premiered in Lima, Peru at the Lima International Festival in June.
Oh.
Like, how different, right? Omaha, Nebraska, Lima, Peru.
So you've got Omaha, where you've got the military, and obviously a lot of people here were people who were involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's over 100 people involved in it alone, so here is a lot of more of my supporters and stuff like that, a lot of military people. But there, they were supporters of the work that my buddies do over there because they're pretty well known. And they gave me totally different perspectives. And it was so awesome to hear, because I'm military, so I see it from one side. I see it from my eyes, and I have no idea how someone who's not in the military sees it. You know what I mean? And to hear the different perspectives, it was super cool. And it was all about the girl in the story.
Shit.
All about the girl in the story.
You kidding? Look at that right there. Even I don't know if you read that. I'm just reading this. I'm sorry, but like on that third paragraph, it was like, of all the suicides they were talking about by age group, 31% of them were vets, 49 and younger, while 69 were vets, age 50 and older.
I did do my research,
That's
folks.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit!
I didn't want
man.
to be putting false.
No,
false
like
info out there.
it's not that I doubted you, but I didn't realize. Like until you see it, you're like, damn.
These are so. Yeah, it's not. It's. I mean,
Like you don't. When you think of suicide, you don't think 50 and older at all.
so
Like you figure
it's
by then you're good, but
grandma,
shit,
great
yeah.
grandpa, and I shouldn't even say
That's
dad and
non-peop-
grandpa.
that's-
There's
that's
women too.
non-cur-
A
like,
lot of
yeah.
women.
Oh yeah.
Women who've served as well and gone through this stuff, and usually women, and I'm not going to say this, but the majority of women that I've talked to, I guess the reason that that I know them is because of their PTSD, because of the organizations that I'm involved in, but they're all combat medics, so they're not just women. So they have that risk of sexual assault, which I'm not saying dudes don't, but in the military, especially most of the time, it's the chick.
Mm-hmm.
And so she has that risk of sexual assault, being one of the only women in the entire unit, because like the actual lead star in this movie, the woman who is portrayed as the military member, she actually is that exact situation. She's an engineer. There's one of her. There's 15 dudes in her unit.
Well, and there's not that many high-ranking women, right? There's no general women.
Unfortunately, I mean, there's there are. It's coming to that, but
Okay.
very very
Recently.
slowly. Right. But so I mean, Grandma
It's
went
trying
through
to
the
fix
same
a system
stuff,
that was
and
been broken for a long time.
and
So
she's not talking about it either. You know what I mean? And so after a while, they just can't do it, and they overdose on those pills that the doctors have given them, or whatever it is. But
and they got it worse than anybody. I mean, obviously the
They've been
guys
dealing
go
with it
through
for
shit,
years.
but yeah, I mean, in the military, generally, as a guy, you don't worry about sexual assaults. Like it's it's not a thing. But I couldn't
just
imagine
do
being,
the sexual assaulting.
Well, yeah, you know, it was just never. All the time I spent, it was never a thing that you worried about was going to happen to you. I can understand the different fears of life you would worry about it, but it was never a thing.
Was
We
this
worried
the
about
80s?
certain things. No, it was 90s. I'm not that fucking old. Late 90s.
I am joking with you.
But like when I was actually in basic training, I was in it was called the Drum and Bugle Corps. We were the military band.
Okay.
So it was a mixed group. We weren't in the same dorms, but we would march. Whenever you would do things as a group, as a unit, we would have women in our unit. We wouldn't sleep in the same areas or whatever. We had our own dorms, but it was co-ed. So we had a lot more interaction with women than pretty much everybody else that was there, because it was whoever can play instruments. I played trumpet.
Did you just say you were in the band?
Yeah.
You were in the military.
It wasn't the Air Force band.
Military band.
You were in the military band?
It was not in the Air Force band. That's a thing. They have their own thing. I was in basic training in what's called the Drum and Bugle Corps. We play our own.
What did you
stuff.
play?
Sorry,
I was
the
a
Drum and
trumpet.
Bugle Corps.
Trumpet.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bugle horn.
Dude, I'm a Dizzy Gillespie, baby. Don't fuck around.
Did you go to the football game and play in the band?
No, we.
That would have been cool.
No, we played.
No, I knew.
We actually
but
did,
That's like confirmation.
The biggest thing we did is we did like this big parade through downtown San Antonio in our full dress blues, and that's what we marched and all that stuff. But like when graduation happens and they have the military band, that wasn't us because we were actually graduating.
Okay.
But we were people that had played music, and then they just need somebody that. Hey, if you want to be part of the military band, like the actual military band, which is a big kind of important, those are the people you see like
marching,
doing the big shit. This is kind of like the tryouts for that. I only got it, and it was actually a surprise because when you show up, they're like, "Hey, this dude shows up randomly. He was like, anybody ever played an instrument or whatever?" And like I did, like in 8th grade, I played the trumpet for like 6 months, and so I was like, "Well, I'll be very honest. Like didn't know what it meant, but I was like, yeah, like in 8th grade, I played a trumpet for like 6 months and blah, blah, blah. I was like, whatever. Next thing I know, like a couple weeks later, they're like, okay, we need airman recruit so-and-so, airman recruit so-and-so, airman recruit Hyatt. And I was like, wait, what? Did you read what I wrote? Like, seriously, I don't play an instrument. Like,
could you read music?
No! Dude, I faked my way through the whole fucking thing.
Did you play a note?
No. Until I got called out because practice wasn't sounding good.
Yeah.
And so he broke everybody down by groups, and he's
Called
like, okay,
up
wait,
for
you guys play. So they would play.
Why did you do
Wait,
this
now hold on.
to
You
yourself?
guys play. And he would listen. Okay, no. Okay, now you guys play. And then I'm just like sweating balls. I'm like, fuck. This is it. They're going to find out I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And then, all right, trumpets, you guys play. And they're like, hold on.
You should just not.
Airman Hyatt, you play. And he just came out like shit. And they were like, you need to work on that. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling. I had a little thing as a tickle. I'm not feeling. You're like, just. Sounds messed up, but like just finger through the rest of the day, and then so it was just like, so like the whole time I'm just like, but literally the whole time I'm just like,
just not blowing.
Yeah, I'm just like watching what they're doing because I can't read the music, so I'm watching the fingers. I memorized shit eventually, but I still couldn't like play the music. But,
like, hi, you sound great.
But I got out of
keep it up.
I got out of KP for it. I got out of a lot of other things that we had to do. Our big thing was we were the marchers. So our TI, our training instructor, was like, all we want. There was 2 different things. There's warrior flight and there was parade flight. So there's all the different flights. It's your group that you're in when you join. That's your people. They compete for different awards. And he's like, if you're like the warrior flight was like the best. They did best at everything. He's not going to give a shit about that. He goes, but we're the fucking, they call us beaters and blowers. So they were like, we're the beaters and blowers. We need to win the parade fucking championship because we need to be the best marcher. We need to. That's what we do. Like that's what we should do. So it was like, all right. So we didn't do shit but rehearse and all that, and I still sucked. Never learned a fucking.
So you did practice though, like in your spare time or no?
No. It was just like we
With
would,
the
instead
group.
of doing what everybody else did, like kitchen patrol or whatever. They're like, all right, we're going to. We gotta go practice.
Did you ask your fellow trumpeters to help you?
Nope.
No? Did they ever say anything to you?
Fake it till you make it, baby.
They didn't say anything
they
like
thought
They
he was
didn't know
good.
I wasn't playing.
Really?
They never
Because-
called you out.
No, they didn't know I was. I
So
literally
how
did
long
not.
were you in the
The whole time.
beaters and blowers?
The whole fucking time.
You were in the military the whole time?
No. Well,
you're
that's just basic. That's just basic. Once
The
you got a
whole
basic,
time in basic, you
the
were
whole time.
blowing,
I made it. Yeah.
faking it.
Did you get an award?
Wow.
For like,
Yeah, you
That's
get
awesome.
special little like
Certificate of achievement.
Yeah, all this shit. Like, yeah, you were part of
You
the
were a
fucking drum and
professional
bugle
blower.
corps and all this
Bugle corps.
shit, and like I got all the things that came with it. But
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
never even
So
fucking
fake
played.
it till you
not
make
a
it.
lot of people know that story.
So when someone asks
fake it till you make it.
if you play the trumpet, what do you say?
I say I have played the trumpet.
I faked it.
Fuck no.
I faked it.
No.
I was
Depends
better.
on-
I was better in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Depends on who's asking. Is it a professional or someone who's just
Well, it's the
randomly
military.
Well, if it's a hot chick, I played instruments.
asking? Instruments.
Yeah.
Because
Not
technically,
the
I played a
trumpet.
guitar. I did sick because with the
I
school
put I put a strap on once.
when I went to school in
Oh,
Bellevue.
okay.
Wait, what?
That's different.
But now
That's
that's part.
different.
But I've had
What was the
classes
guy's
where
name?
Music. He liked to be called
Chase.
Susan.
His name
Okay.
was Chase.
But no, I played all kinds of instruments. I play guitar. I've learned piano a little bit. I play different things. I always want to try different things.
Sure,
So
but not
You
trumpet.
are kind of
trumpet,
a
like
big
I said,
deal.
I fully filled it out, not expecting it. I was as honest as I could fucking be because I was 18. I was like 8th grade. I played for 6 months, and they go through the applications and they pick people. So they fucking
But
picked
so
me.
besides that one time, your instructor never singled you out
Nope.
and be like,
Nope, that was the one time.
"Wow."
Yeah, because the rest
Air
of the time,
Force.
yeah.
He, but he specifically told you, "All right, just finger it today."
Well, yeah, because I was like playing it out like, oh, I just haven't felt
That's
good,
what
and I
she
can't, and I'm trying to. I was like,
Did you even know how to like?
I could do it.
You have to
and-
make like a fart noise.
Because you basically have to make, you have to fart into it. That's why you have a spit valve and all that, because
Yeah.
you're spitting into it.
So gross.
Like, I knew the basics, but I
valve.
couldn't play consistently. Like, I would have moments of, oh, damn, I do sound good. But then I would fuck it up and live right ruin it. And I'd be like, damn, I got cocky. So I wasn't good, but, like, if I took the time and, like, actually got serious, I could probably do it. But
All right.
I was not expecting it, and then it just so happened that they picked me, and like things went really cool after that. So I was like, I'm gonna ride this bitch out
So,
until the wheels fall off.
are you
You were
saying-
just good at holding it.
Oh yeah, I can fake it.
You don't have PTSD because you played the trumpet?
I
faked it. He didn't play it.
You know, I don't think.
Fake the trumpet.
I've seen some shit. I haven't seen as much as a lot of people, but I think also PTSD as much as, and I don't know if this is going to rub people the wrong way. I don't really have a big strong belief in addiction. I think it's a thing, certain thing, but I don't think it's like a disease. I don't think like I have a hard time buying alcoholism as a disease, like that kind of shit. I don't think that's So like I think people react differently to different situations, and I think if I had been through some bad shit, I think I probably would have been okay, because I think mentally I'm good at compartmentalizing things, and the shit I did see when I was a cop and did all that never bothered me. But like I said, I never saw, bad shit. I saw bad shit, but not horrible shit that would, like horror movie stuff. Yeah. Like I never saw that, so I don't know how I would react. But I don't.
And
really,
not for long enough, maybe.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I've seen dead bodies. I've seen, I've dealt with sexual assault victims. I've seen some shit. I've had fucking guns pulled on me. Like I've had situations. I've had life-threatening situations. I've been through all that, and it's, I don't know. Maybe I'm a psychopath and it doesn't bother me. But like I feel like I'm better at dealing with it. But I've also never been through the hardcore shit. So I don't know. But I don't really feel like I have any kind of PTSD. I feel like,
did this movie help you at all? Maybe realize
it didn't.
I've been pushing stuff.
No,
down.
I wouldn't say it helped me, because a lot of the stuff that I saw, I recognized, but I recognized it in other people. Even though it's hard to explain, but like.
That's what it's for,
though. Like dream sequences, and the scenes I'm talking about. Yeah, the nightmares.
There's nightmare sequences.
Like there's nightmare sequences that, like, when you see it, you're like, I know that's exactly what they're going through, and that's exactly in my mind how it would feel. Like I could see that happening. So it was like, it didn't help me because it confirmed a lot of things that I thought, that I was like, that's kind of what I imagined it would be if that happened. So when I saw it, I was like, well, it helped me, I guess, in a way that I don't feel like that, so maybe I don't have those problems, so I'm okay. But
the biggest thing is
in that it confirmed that I'm like, there's a lot of things in it that I saw that I'm like, that's kind of what I figured. Like if that's what I was going through, that's what I would be experiencing. So it did help, but it didn't help in the way that like I realized I was pushing shit down. Like it helped me realize that I think I'm okay, and I would be better off helping other people, because I feel like I could. Even though I might not exactly know what you're going through, I've been through enough shit that I'm there to listen to you, say what you got to say. I'm not going to judge you. And I think that's there's a lot of vets get scared of being judged, of being, for whatever reason, whether, how could you do that? How could you be over there and shoot people? Or, why are you such a pussy? Why can't you deal with that? You don't know when you say these things how it's going to come back at you. Mm-hmm. So you just assume stay silent and don't talk about it, because then exactly nobody's going to judge you if you don't talk about it.
Civilian life is so different than military life, so.
But it's not even that. That's a quick way to find out a personality in somebody. You're like, oh, I went to this war. Oh, you're a war person? Oh, is that who you... No, I'm in the military. That's what I do, Or you're going to get... So you're scared... You might lose friends because of something, or I might say the wrong thing. Oh, I had to do this thing in the war. Oh, you're a scumbag. How could you do that? And then next, and there was nothing. You didn't bring that shit on yourself. It was just, this is what I'm dealing with. And then you're open and honest, and next thing you know, you're losing people in your life, and so then you shut back down. And so it's, it helps me realize that I could probably help more than...
So, has it helped people?
Oh, obviously.
Well, you said people come up to you.
We're breaking the silence.
Messages now.
Yeah.
Like,
we're breaking the silence. And that's the most amazing thing. It really is to feel and to show the film, and then to have people literally come up to me. Or like one time, way before when we were in development and talking about locations and sitting down, telling like the idea to an individual. It was a grandpa and his wife, because he was a war veteran, and he supported the story and wanted to hear about it. So he was sitting there talking to us, and he ended up telling us, he was actually a POW, and he ended up telling us some stuff that was stuff that I found out when he went to the bathroom was stuff that his wife of over 50 years had never heard.
Really?
And she like broke down in tears. because he was sitting there telling us how, he survived on chicken bones. And, that was literally, he had to eat the bones because that's all that was left in this cement place that he was kept for freaking days on end with like nothing.
Yeah.
And he had never said anything. And these people, just like we were talking about earlier, that guy comes up and he's like, thanks for making this movie. It is, people don't want to talk about it. It's really hard to talk about. And I said, well, do you want to talk about it? And he's like, yeah, I do. So at the end, the veterans that come out, it does say, the following veterans are ready to break the silence. And they're real. They're, real life. Like, hey, I've committed suicide or I've attempted suicide. I'm fucked up. This is the reason that I was out. These are the reasons I don't talk about it. Like stuff like that. Like they're very, very real. And maybe those are something that struck him,
Yeah.
but, and because I, am so obviously closely associated with it, he came to me, but I'm not a therapist or counselor or anything.
Inspired him to talk about it, though, right?
Right. Right. And that's that's what's happening all over the place.
But it's got to be a great feeling, though. To get that.
It is a wonderful feeling to break the silence.
Yeah.
It's exactly the intent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and that's it's really cool. Yeah, when you watch it, like I said, it's. People ask it's a silent film. It's not a silent film. There's just no dialogue. There's audio. There's obviously you heard the music in the trailer and shit.
There was no dialogue in Game of Thrones either, but
that's true. But
we watched it.
Well, there was shitty dialogue.
What's Game of Thrones? What's that again?
Dude, this will blow away Game of Thrones.
The worst TV show ever.
Throne of Games.
Do you want to feel emotional again? This will get you more emotional than the entire last season of Game of Thrones. Well, Game of Thrones just piss you off.
It is. It's a hard movie to watch. I mean, that's exactly the
intent.
That's what I hear all the time.
It's hard to watch.
It's uncomfortable.
You wanted to make a powerful movie, though, right?
It's hard to watch.
Absolutely.
If you're for me it was because like I said, I watched it with my mom the first time because we've known about it, but I made a point that I wanted to watch it with her because, like I said, she does suffer from PTSD from her firefighter days and shit. So even though it's military,
was she able to finish the movie?
Yeah, we got through it. Yeah, no, she was okay. Her dad was in the military. Her brother's in the military. I was in the military. So we come from a big, strong military family. So even though she wasn't in the military, she's gone through shit, and she has military experience. So it was something she needed to watch. She was really looking forward to it. And there were parts that were hard to watch based on who you were watching it with. Like, because I know some of the shit she's gone through. And so when it gets to certain points, you're like, oh, fuck. Like, that's going to trigger something, but and to me, like it gets to the point where I'm just like, you reach back, you hold somebody's hand, and you just like, whether I'm gonna watch you or not, like whatever, but I'm gonna be there with you, and it's just like I just reached up and grabbed my mom's hand and just held it, and I'm just like, let's get through this, and so we watched it together, even though I was kind of watching certain parts, and she was, but it was just like it was just a moment, like you just want them to know that I'm feeling, so yeah, there was
it's beautiful.
It's a thing if you know anybody that has it, possibly could have it. Maybe somebody's been through some shit.
It's not necessarily them that we want to watch it. It's you that we want to watch. We want the people around them because the biggest fear I had was I know that people with PTSD especially have triggers. That I've experienced this for the past decade of my life with someone who it was very high sensitive PTSD combat veteran who had 1,000 triggers. And that's
drop of a dime.
That's how I was introduced to PTSD, was like a big whack right in my face, like, hey, here it is, and I hope you're ready for it. And because of the military family I came from, I knew it wasn't his fault. Like I tried to put myself in the position of, well, this guy didn't ask for this. Like he was honoring his country, he was doing something for his country, and he didn't ask for this, so I gave him excuse after excuse. But if I had seen something like this or even known what PTSD was, I can't believe how many people don't even know what PTSD is. And obviously those are people who've never been affected by something, or it's just never been labeled because they've never gone to a doctor or whatever. But there are a lot of people who have come to me and said, oh, yeah, I think
My Uncle
that
Jimmy
I have
used to act
PTSD.
weird, and we wondered what it was.
Yeah, there's people who have come to me and been like, it registers. Like I've had Department of Corrections come to me, probation officers come to me who have to sit there and go into these houses and see these things.
Dude, I bet prison's just a hotbed of PTSD. Just
the
shit. Oh, Jesus
They
Christ.
said that there's suicides at the prison all the time, so the prison guards have to go in. They find these people who have committed suicide, and they have to deal with stuff. These people, there's so many people out there who have to deal with stuff on a daily basis that people don't know about.
So it's like you said, though, you're trying to educate the people that don't know about it, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just feel that living next, like you're working in a cubicle next to a guy that's having a hard time.
Yeah.
So that you're not so quick to judge, as well as you can also, offer a help.
Sean never wants to go out. He doesn't like to hang out with people. Why is he such he's a jackass? He doesn't like to go out. And why has he got that weird military haircut? And you're like, well, he's probably in the military. Maybe he's going through some shit. Maybe you should be like, hey, Sean, you want to come hang out sometime? And even a lot of those people, I guarantee you, if you get them one-on-one, it's a lot better. Like, they don't want to be around people because, one, loud noises, a lot of people, a lot of action, a lot of things going on. A lot of times can be that's that trigger. Is this there's a lot of shit happening. So if you get them one-on-one at a place, I guarantee you'll get more out of them than you could. Hey, the whole crowd's going out. Let's go. You know?
For sure.
A lot of them end up in black holes in their basements. They call it the rabbit hole. And unless they have someone around who cares enough to get them out of there or who knows that they're there, they don't come out.
Just like spiraling depression or something?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It'll happen. Like one of the vets at the end says, he'll be driving down the road, great day, sun is shining, he's on his way home from work, no big deal. And then all of a sudden he's sitting there thinking about how he's going to hang himself. And he's like, whoa, what the fuck? Where the fuck did that come from? What am I thinking about? Like, why does that happen? They have demons, like, they're wounded souls. They have demons that live inside of them, like, on a constant basis until they're able to find someone who can help them get rid of those demons or better control those demons or whatever. But it's insane, having had a husband sitting there telling me that it's better if he kill himself. He's trying to convince me it's better for us if he were to kill himself so that I shouldn't be mad when he does it. Like, really? So,
and he believed every second of it.
Jesus.
The rabbit hole is not a good place, and unless there's people around you who know what the hell is going on, everyone around you is going to take it personally. It was very hard for family not to take it personally when he had these issues, and it had absolutely nothing to do with any of us.
Yeah.
He was sitting there thinking about, he was back in war somewhere in some freaking black hole, something. It had absolutely nothing to do with us, but he couldn't communicate. He couldn't, it's just, they become different individuals, and if you don't know what it is or even expecting it or educated about it, then you can... It can fuck up a lot of shit. A lot of marriages are broken up because of it. A lot of relationships, a lot of jobs are lost.
I guarantee you somebody will watch this and realize, holy shit, I bet so-and-so, that, And obviously that's the idea, is that this is to help other people realize, hey, there's probably people in your life that fucking deal with this shit and you don't realize it. So, like, it's...
And hopefully they don't just realize that. They go forward and talk to them about it, or because
just awareness is the biggest part.
Exactly. But
it's something that it just falls on the wayside. People just it's. I think PTSD became a fucking not a key word or like a phrase word, but it was just PTSD. Oh, PTSD. We'll just blame everything on PTSD, but it's like you actually like. It's not a fucking joke. Like, it's not... This is some shit you need to realize that's going on. It happens all the fucking time. Like, it's not just a catchphrase. I guess catchphrase, yeah. I'm like, it's not just a catchphrase for...
Trigger words.
Yeah, like, no. There's real shit going on. And so, yeah.
So, do you think PTSD goes back to, like, other wars, too?
Oh, fuck yeah. Dude, I bet you humans have been having PTSD.
It seemed like people from the World War II didn't...
Like, they never talked about
crumble into society. Like, they came back and it started the baby boomers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, they're also the ones who are killing themselves right now because they forced themselves not to deal with it, and were beating their wives and like all that stuff, and no one ever labeled it as PTSD.
Yeah, our families, you know,
they had different terms.
My grandparents were like, "Oh, you can beat your wife because that's just what you do."
Alcoholics,
She's just there to
angry
accept it.
people.
Yeah. Drink, have a drink.
That's just dad.
Yeah.
That's where all the advertising
comes. Dad just drinks a bottle of whiskey every day.
Have a drink, you'll be okay. And
they have no idea why.
Did it turn out well? No. And guess what? We're in a lottery, and it might be. I mean, it sounds weird, but it could be tied into that shit. Like, this is how they dealt with it, and it just cycle, man. It continues on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, my dad was in the military. He seemed fine. I mean, he drank 6 bottles every night, but he seemed okay. Like, because your dad was going through some shit, and that's how he had to deal with it. And
you know, he didn't want to have dreams, so he drank.
Yeah, but I remember my dad loved Jack Daniels, so I love Jack Daniels. Well, you're missing the whole point of what So it's it could be. I mean, PTSD could be the sort of thing that, and we're just still really learning about it. That it could have been around forever, and it's.
Oh, it has been around.
It explains a lot about society. If that, I mean.
There's something funny for you. When I was looking back, when I was doing research, and I looked back because I had to have all these pictures and like military things for the movie. I went to my grandma's and I was looking for stuff about my grandpa because he was in World War II, and I found a whole bunch of stuff. And his wallet was there, and in his wallet, this was the craziest thing because my grandpa died like less than 3 weeks after I was born. And in his wallet was one newspaper article, and that newspaper article was an article about Jeeps making people angry, because they said that all the military guys, the military Jeeps that they were driving in was jacking up the vertebrae of their spine, and they were causing them to be angry, so they would come home and there was divorces being caused, and there was anger coming from all the rattling
Jeeps,
of the Jeeps on their bodies.
Wow. Well,
but I thought that was super crazy.
Not the Viet Cong. Not the war we were in.
He had
not the bullets.
He had an excuse or whatever, a scapegoat to go for. Is that fucking Jeep
maybe
that I had
maybe you read that every day.
They were making that shit up. Yeah, dude.
That was the problem.
He didn't have PTSD that I know of, but I mean, I guess I didn't know him. He was a farmer. He just did his own thing.
He came back. He was a cranky old man.
That's
I'm sure,
right.
like that. But back then, that was probably what it was. It was like, oh, he's just, Grandpa's cranky now. Like,
that's just
Grandpa's probably dealing with shit.
You didn't know what was going through his head.
But you got to remember, his dad told him, "Quit being a pussy, don't do this," And then his friends were always, "Quit being a pussy," because that was back then. Everybody, man, had to be a man. And,
back to Saving Private Ryan. He probably saw his friends pulling his fucking guts out of his stomach.
Yeah. And how can you explain that to your wife?
Yeah.
As she's making lasagna, and you're like, "Yeah, it reminds me of."
I don't want to eat that.
Fucking one time. Remember that friend of mine, Billy, I told you about?
Yeah.
And he hit the IED, and it fucking blew up. His guts were hanging out. That's I'm good. Like, that's not just a conversation you have. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So this is.
I'll just drink some beer and eat my lasagna.
Then
you beat your wife for making fun.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you make me eat Billy's insides? I'm so pissed off. You know how I feel about lasagna?
Yeah.
That's my trigger. Lasagna triggers me every time.
I figured out what his trigger was.
Yeah, it was lasagna.
Why he didn't like lasagna?
It was flat pasta, apparently. It's the wavy flat pasta. It reminds him of intestines. Like, yeah, but
it was his Jeep.
I mean, we joke about it, and to me, that's good. I'm that kind of person that, like, you've got to be able to joke about that shit. But as long as the discussion's being had, but it's like that could be a reasonable explanation for a lot of things, and it was just never taken seriously. It was never explored anymore. It was never brought to light this way because the world we live in now is very digital. You can make a short film and you can put it out there. You can say whatever message you have to say, and you can throw it out there for free and get volunteers, and you can so we're in a world that the availability to tell these stories is there, but they still, like, sometimes you feel like the story should have been told already, and like, am I just beating a dead horse? But no, just like, this is a story that needs to keep getting told because apparently people ain't fucking getting it, so you need to keep doing it.
One of the craziest things I'd heard was that in South America, I told you that they have that high rate of crime against women. My friends, neither one of them had any idea what PTSD was, even though I promise you thousands of women are suffering from it. But they obviously don't call it that, or they don't even treat that, or they
They don't
call
believe in it.
Something else.
Yeah. Did you have a bad day today?
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. They just think they've become mean people. I mean, I don't know, but they've never even heard of PTSD.
Think back 20 years ago before we realized it was a thing. And then, obviously, we're just realizing, oh, wait, women have PTSD, too. How many times did somebody have to go through some shit, show up to work on Monday, and be like, damn, Donna's going through a period today, and she, like, and it was just brushed off as, like, what's your fucking problem? Like,
imagine being that girl.
Turns out she was just assaulted this last weekend, but she ain't telling nobody about it. Like, so, but like, all you know is Donna's kind of a bitch today. Like,
comment like
man,
that.
she's on her fucking rag. Like, you know how many times, like 20 years ago, that was probably happening all the time.
It still happens.
Yeah, well,
that still happens.
But it's just like back then,
Still
it
happens.
was, at least now there's starting to be, and hopefully this is just one more step on the fucking stairway to heaven of trying to get this word out, man. Like, this is some,
Biggest thing is spread the word. So if you watch it, spread it and talk about it and get other people to watch it. It'll be out on Amazon for a while.
Yeah.
We have this thing where we talk about, like, there's
I'll get my buddies to watch it.
There's one key where, anybody, like I said, even people that don't have it, anybody that you know, anybody should watch. Everybody should watch it because you never know. One of your buddies that is just the coolest dude ever might have an uncle that's going through this shit, and you never knew about it, but because his uncle never told him about it, and all of a sudden he's just like, hey, that's some weird shit. My uncle does that kind of shit. Maybe I should talk to him. You know, so you never know who it's going to be affected by. So I think it's the kind of thing where everybody should watch it, and you might realize some shit, and it sounds cheesy or whatever, but if it saves one fucking life, that's worth it. Like, if you watch it and you talk to somebody and you're like, hey, you should watch this, and then that person that's 45, fucking 50, 60 years old that was in Nam, instead of killing himself, he's like, hey, my nephew talked to me about this shit. My nephew was like,
yes,
you know, he knows these people. Maybe I should talk to you know, you could save people's lives that you don't even think about. So it's just like one person. If you could save one person's life, that's worth watching the movie in itself. So just watch it and fucking tell everybody you know about to watch it. And she dropped you some cards.
The hearing people tell their stories, honestly, I mean, unfortunately, I've also gotten I got a review last week from a friend who watched it and then got the notice that a buddy in her unit had just committed suicide. So her review of the movie, was definitely different perspective than other people's. But it's something that people are watching, and like Tony said, powerful. That was the point, because I wanted to make something that people will remember, and hopefully that it won't die out, because someone, you talk about it, and all of a sudden you realize that shit, these people are all over the place. They're out there. And one of the biggest things was that people also forget that just because you're not in the military anymore, just because you're not in a uniform, doesn't mean you weren't still there, or you're not still going through war in your head, because they don't see you as a military anymore. They only see military if you're walking down the street and you got a uniform on. You walk down the street in a suit, that same dude going to church, and they're not going to think, oh, hey, that dude's in the military. You know what I mean? Like, so people have no idea, and that's where it goes with even the non-military PTSD. You have no freaking idea. Every single person looks different, and, we all have different stories, so just pretty much don't judge people and be nice to everybody, right? Say, hey, how's it going, old man Jenkins? How you doing? Don't think that he's a jackass all the time. Just say hi to him.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably just assume that. A cranky old man. Yeah, he's probably
jackass.
seen some shit, Someone cuts you off in traffic. Well, maybe that guy's fucking...
It's kind of hard to say that if he's out beating your fucking car, though, when you cut him off in traffic. So you want to get to him before he becomes that dude. Mm-hmm. Because unfortunately, those same people can take things the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shit.
So anyway, great. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys having me to talk about that stuff.
I find it all fascinating.
Yeah,
and it's on Amazon Prime. It'll be.
Talking.
How do the listeners find it? Easiest way to find it?
Oh, it's on Amazon Prime. You can just search Silence, and it's now like #1 that comes up. Woo woo.
Nice.
Or you can go. We're on Facebook and Instagram. If you go to AWE Silence, you'll be able to pull up those pages, and we have the links to where you can view it. Because right now, this whole next week, we're going to be doing radio and news and marketing and getting it out there.
The marketing week.
Yep, this is the.
I'm gonna share it on the Trash Talk page so our listeners will see it.
Okay.
Share the shit out of it.
Question
Everybody
about
share it.
the.
I can share you. I can send you the link too, then, so you can put
Please
that on
do.
the Trash Talk
Please do.
page.
Make believe.
Yeah.
The
Make
recorded
Believe
the
Studio?
audio.
Yeah.
We just didn't mention that
He's
at
an
all.
audio guy.
Oh.
I'm not an audio guy.
You're an
but
audio guy.
I know audio, but
You're an audio guy.
you
Well,
said you didn't know who did it.
Well, the whole soundtrack was the whole piece was put together. My director is also the musician that I told you about, and he scored the whole thing.
So what
and he went to Make Believe.
What is the score like?
Strings.
We're talking pianos here. What is it like?
It's mostly it has like one. You've heard it.
Yeah.
It has
It's
one
music.
main.
Was it in the
it has
trailer?
Like one main guitar.
Yeah, it was the trailer.
Yeah, it was in the trailer.
Okay,
Music
so
that's
there
in
was
the
a
trailer
guitar.
Is the
It's
whole
a guitar.
thing. It
Full
carries
song.
throughout the
All
whole
right,
film.
all right.
It's a guitar, but
Okay.
then it has
Yeah.
different
There's
levels
different
of
shit.
Overdubbed the
pipes
guitar.
and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Pikes?
Yeah.
Spikes?
Spikes.
Spikes.
Okay.
I don't know what she's
Pikes.
trying to say.
Audio
so I
level,
don't know.
like waveforms.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, to me, as far
It's
as
got
audio
peaks
and
and
film and
valleys.
shit, like it'll carry you
It's-
through the film.
Okay, that's what I was.
It'll
going
tell
for.
the
carries
story.
you
Like
through.
you can listen to the music. The music will get you just as emotional as the fucking watch.
Because
will.
I
Like,
love
it-
instrumental scores. You know,
you'll hear it and it'll brings you up when it's time to bring you up, brings you back down. When there's nightmare sequences, you feel like it's the music's
That's
tight,
good.
man.
All right.
Like we talk film and shit. So the DP, I always talk about that. But the director of photography, the director of photography did an amazing job.
Cinematographer.
The cinematographer, it's amazing. Like the shots in this thing are fucking awesome.
Oh, the trailer was beautiful.
Oh, dude, there's even better shots in the actual film. There's some
Just the
that
teasers.
didn't get to see, but yeah, even the
The
trailer has some
nightmares are the
amazing
best.
shots. Yeah, that dude did, and that was one of the first things I told him when I saw it. I was like, dude, who was your DP?
Piero
Because
Varda. He
Yeah.
was awesome. If
All
by
props to that
chance,
dude.
and,
in this
they, and
weird
those
world
guys
that you
came
know
up
him.
from South
that was a dude from
America.
Lima.
South
Yeah.
America. Michael Spitzer and Piero Varda, they came up and
What'd
helped
they
me
think
out.
of Omaha?
There's an entire studio down actually in South America that backed me on this. Cena 70, they backed me on this, so that was awesome. Well, they've been here before. That's how I know them. I
Okay.
worked with them. They actually came here to do a documentary in Peru, Nebraska, like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I hooked up with them then and knew them from that. And they were the only couple people on the crew that spoke English, and so we were able to communicate, and we had continued to
Became
be friends and stuff, and so they followed my life on
And
Facebook and
that
knew.
was
Nice.
so confusing because she kept telling me about Peru and the people she met in Peru, and then she knows these people from Peru, and then these guys that are from Peru. So I remember
But
the
she's
first
like,
thing
I've
she
never
said-
been to Peru.
Well, she's talking about Peru, Nebraska, and I knew Peru, Nebraska, so she kept talking about Peru. And so I, ever since then, kept thinking she was talking about Peru, Nebraska. I'm like, wow, is there a lot of shit going on in Peru, Nebraska? She's like, no, I mean the fucking country, Peru. And I'm like, oh! She was like, we worked in Peru. I'm like, okay. I was like, what's going on in Peru? Like, damn, we gotta get out there. She's like, no, I mean the actual country. That's where they're from.
Sounds like a bad little town to go to.
Yeah, I was like, well, let's go to fucking
You know what?
Peru.
Peru, Nebraska, they know how to rock it there. They're awesome. They've hosted us a couple times. I've worked with him. He came in and did a commercial with me a couple months ago too, down in Peru, Nebraska. So
They like the cornfields down there, or what?
no, they like the the crazy
downtown?
part is that literally this documentary that I did 8 years ago, it became like a huge deal and won Academy Awards down there, and it's super big deal. So all these little Nebraskans
She's
that were
famous in Peru.
all these little Nebraskans that
Never
are
been there, but she's
extras
famous.
in this
That's
movie became huge celebrities in
Wow.
Peru. So they were actually taken down to South America to the soccer tournament, whatever the
Football.
yeah, football, whatever it was. It was like the championships, and they were taken there, and there was pictures taken of them and all this stuff. And so,
Yeah, she's
one of the
famous in
campaigns,
another country.
one of these campaigns that they're doing now for it was a childhood cancer campaign or something. They wanted to use one of the celebrities from that documentary. So they just recently came back and we did a commercial for that new childhood cancer thing with one of the celebrities, quote unquote, from the documentary back in 2000, whenever that was.
And what was this documentary? In case people want to watch that too.
It was called, if you want to go onto YouTube, you can find it. It's Prom de Peru, Promdeperu. And I'm in that one too. Oh yeah, I was behind the footage. Got some behind the scenes.
I'm gonna link that
thing,
one on
and
Facebook
that
as
one's
well.
it's pretty good. It's definitely different.
You know, it makes me feel cool. She was our crafty on my music video.
Yeah,
she's big time celebrity in Peru. Guess what she did for me? She was my crafty.
well, wait a second. Did you ever release that music video?
Dude, didn't I told you that whole thing?
Yeah,
I
know.
Pissed.
I know.
We got we shot this music video, no budget, mind you, for a high school fucking kid and his band, who started off as a band. By the time we shot the music video, it was him and his buddy. So we spent 2 days shooting this shit. I fucking did everything on this bitch. All they had to do was show up. I fucking wrote the whole thing, did everything about it. We fucking tore it up. It was awesome.
You had cups made.
Dude, we had cups made. We had like these little specialty cups. I think you still got one.
Yeah,
I got
ribbon.
my cup still.
I have that cup. That's where I got that from.
Cup?
I forgot what commercial I got
the cup
that
above
from.
Wonder Woman.
The coffee cup.
So the song's called Ribbon
I
for
forgot
Last
where I
Place.
got that from.
And that's what it was like. The idea was they were in this coffee shop, and this coffee shop happened to have ribbons on their cups. It was just a, whatever, subtle play on words. So we ended up having a bunch of these cups. So we all kind of took cups, There's like our little set thing that we took. And like, for no budget, for being fucking that college kid, like for basically what we were, like I thought it turned out pretty good. Like I enjoyed it. We had fun. Things turned out cool.
I don't think I ever saw it.
And I put it out there. And like I showed the kid as the whole process was going. I'm showing him everything as we're going. He's like, "Dude, I like it. It's cool. It's awesome. Sweet, sweet, sweet." And I'm like, "Hey, okay, so this is the final cut." I was like, "But I still have editing to do. There was little things I wanted to edit, but I was like, this is basically what it's going to be, minus some visual things that I'll show you when I'm finished." And so I just put it out there on Facebook. Dude, within 15 hours, 12 hours, we had like 1,000 views. It was fucking blowing up. And then the next day, he like texted me and he's like, "Hey, do me a favor. Can you take that down because I'm starting a different band and we want to re-record the song, so it's going to sound different. And I don't want people to think this is like the official song and video and all this shit." And I was like, "Dude,
fuck?
You already have more views on this than you have in everything you've ever done. Like, what's the problem?"
Yeah.
Like. And so, but then he asked me, I'm like, well, fucking, like, and then it kind of pissed me off because I fucked up. I got releases from everybody, but I forgot to get it from the 2 actual band members before we started shooting because I was like, oh, well, we're going to keep working on it, so I'll just grab it later. Never got the releases because if I had the releases, fuck you, my video, you signed a release. But I never got the releases from the actual 2 dudes in the band. So I couldn't just put it out there and say, fuck you. But it's a thing where, like, I always have it, so if somebody wants to watch it, I'll share it with you.
That sucks. You did all that work and then you fucking...
Yeah, I thought it turned out pretty cool.
The same kid didn't know what he was doing. We tried to hook him up with the Sony guy, and he's like, I
Charlie.
don't know. I'm like, okay.
I think he
We don't know.
Charlie could have done so well. Like,
Fuck.
he had a good... He could... Yeah, the kid was all
I've got
right.
someone who should listen to your stuff. Yeah, I know some
If
people.
you haven't seen it, I'll show you.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
I think it turned out
Send
pretty
me a
good.
link to that too. I'd like to see
I
it.
think it turned out pretty good.
I might have seen it,
Yeah,
but
you might have,
probably
but,
not. It's been so long ago.
But that one, that was one of the ones that, like, and I, sometimes I get weird about that, but like if I work on a project and I work hard and I feel like I get fucking kicked in the balls, it just kind of sets me back a little bit, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. Speaking of huge disappointments.
Well, should we take a break and then get back to huge disappointments? Because I want to make one whole segment about this. I don't want to break.
I mean, I was segueing into it right now.
Oh,
Do we need a break or?
I don't know. I want to make sure that we get the word
Is there
out
anything
about
else
silence
on silence you guys
before,
that we need
because
to
I feel like
cover?
we could take a break.
I meant
but
to
let's
ask
do
that.
silence. Let's get everything we need to talk about, because then we've been going a while. If you needed to, split it up into 2, because we still got Husker shit we could talk about. We got all kinds of shit.
When you put this up, you're gonna have to...
Well, we're gonna pimp the shit out of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 2 topic podcast. Silence and Husker.
Hey, this is the most important podcast I've been a part of on you guys. So.
Well, I think
this
Me
one
too.
we need
A lot
to
of
pimp it
people
out.
listen
Well,
to
I don't
it.
know. I haven't. I know you guys talk about some
and watch this.
important buttholes and stuff. I know that, but
Oh shit!
as far as I'm,
Did you know about that?
is that a new thing?
Yeah.
So if I said butthole, oh shit, that is new. All right, yeah. So let's get this silence thing taken care of, because I don't want to be a butthole and take up all your time.
That's the word every time.
No, they're honestly, like I said,
5
talk
good
about
minutes.
it.
Say what you got to say.
Talk
you
about
got releases coming up. You got public viewings coming up. You got anything you need to talk about?
No, unfortunately, there is no public viewings. No more public viewings scheduled for right now. We just had one on Friday that was really big and awesome, and they had a celebration for me because of the release on Amazon this week. So that was pretty
That's
sweet.
awesome. Did they give you a
awesome.
cake or something?
They did. They gave me a big old cake, and that was awesome. We have T-shirts and we have posters and we have all that shit, and it's all available. Like I said, if you go onto our social media, AWE Silence for Facebook and Instagram.
No, I love T-shirts, but it is getting close to the winter months. Are hoodies a possibility?
They may be a possibility.
Oh, that's awesome. So convenient that I asked that. Because I would love a hoodie.
Were there photos of the shirt?
Yeah. Right there.
Oh, right there.
Boom.
Yeah, that's
The cake too.
That's the cake.
That's the cake.
Yeah. And
Nice.
there's the black
look,
shirt.
there's a VFW.
And then there's the red
and then that's
shirt.
the party right there.
Yeah, that's from the party the
yeah.
other day. See, if you click on it, you'll see him wearing the red shirts too.
Are all these shirts gone?
Those are all silent
Do you have any
shirts.
more shirts?
In our
Yeah.
sizes, yes. They,
I have medium.
she
and
apparently
large.
forgot she lived in Nebraska, so she has a lot of mediums and smalls left.
I have small, medium, large.
Okay.
I just don't
I thought
have-
you were at a large and extra large.
I don't have extra
take a
large,
large.
and 2XL.
Shut up. Quit
There's
being
our
that shit.
crew right there.
That's crew.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. The cast and who was there that day. Those are all the businesses in that one money shot.
And this is all on Silence's Facebook page, by the way.
Yeah.
Money
If
shot.
anybody wants to look on there.
Yeah, there's a money shot of a drone shot where you see. There it is right there on the.
This?
On the right, yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
coffins and all that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
'Cause
our money
the
shot.
22.
There's 22 coffins there, and we built those. I built all those coffins, and then I went and
it's a shot in the film.
I went and I sold those flags to businesses in the area. We have a lot of awesome businesses like Green Bean Coffee
Are
and
those
New Dawn
different
Nutrition,
flags?
and
They
all
look
those.
like different kinds of flags. Like, see how
No.
the bottom ones look like the.
No.
I can just see the
They're all
stars
the
differently. Maybe that's just it. Just I can see the better stars, but it looks the bottoms like.
Anyway, so we went and sold those flags, and then I, after the film was done, we took the wood from all those caskets and built those flag holders, and then delivered them to all the different companies with a picture of the scene that it was.
Wasn't that
using.
Dave?
With the full the triangle or the
That's John.
flag
Or-
all folded
okay,
up
never
in a
mind.
triangle.
He's the owner of Green Bean.
Yeah, okay, no. They look different.
Those are all the ones that. Yeah. So, you'll see him around.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I hope
But I did all of that.
We've still got one of those from my
Made
grandpa.
those.
We got my grandpa's flag.
Yeah. So that was a lot of. That was a long process.
Nerd.
Mhm.
Not Craig.
All right.
Yep. All gave some gave. Even that's a misnomer. Not all gave some. A lot gave some.
I encourage every listener out there to go check out the Silence film on Amazon. Follow the Facebook page.
It might
Just a
help
great,
you.
Are there, and actually I don't know this, so I'm curious, is there planning on being released anywhere else?
Yes.
At any time? Or is it just going to be an Amazon Prime exclusive? Or like,
Tony,
what's the
I'm
deal?
glad
Are there
you
other
asked
places
that.
that I can check this out if I need to?
Well, you know what? Right now we're in the process of distributing, and Amazon was our first, but we also have deals in the works with Apple and PlayStation.
Any other film festivals you're trying to get it into?
No more film festivals.
Okay.
I have other projects that I've moved on to
We're
that I'm
beyond film
working on now.
festivals.
Okay, That's fine.
So
Just little
I've got,
pussies like us deal with film festivals.
Apparently.
She
got-
deals with Amazon Prime and then
oh,
moves on.
whatever.
Yeah.
I've got other stuff, but
Dude, she's so past Q&A. She was like, you know what? This next one, you guys do the Q&A. I'll show up. Like,
Yeah.
I get a kick out of the Q&A. I just don't want to be a part of that. I'm like, I'm such a nerd. But she's
I
like,
showed up and did it anyway.
I know, but still.
Where does the revenue go to?
There is no revenue.
No profits?
There's
from,
no profit.
From Amazon. You don't get anything from Amazon?
Well, 22% of that profit will go to the 22 Too Many Foundation. 22%
Okay.
of all of our profit goes to the 22 Too Many Foundation. Profit being from, distribution, which I guess that just released this last week. We haven't really got any of those yet because that stuff
Takes a
won't
minute.
come out for a while.
Well,
but when it comes out, it'll be distributed between myself and some other people who had to put into the movie, and then the 22% obviously will go to that foundation.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, because it could just keep growing. You know,
Absolutely.
it could blow up all of a sudden.
Absolutely.
So, nice.
Yeah, there's bigger studios coming into Omaha or into Nebraska. There's a film incentive out in Fremont that's going to be bringing a lot of movies
I like that picture of the
into
fucking
Nebraska.
photo album
So
on fire.
that was our cover
I'm just
photo
kinda
until I got
noticing
to
that.
make that one.
I know,
Yeah,
that's
cool.
awesome, but I do like that because it fits the film.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right.
when you watch the film, that there's a photo album that's kind of a big motif throughout the film, and so like when you watch it, like that really fits. Kind of, it's crazy. Like that's awesome.
Don't spoil the movie for me, Tony.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I use the word motif? And
Well, I hope you
ruin
guys
for
like it. You have to tell me what you
For sure.
what you
definitely.
think.
Yeah, definitely.
Take a look. Let me know.
And
yeah,
I'm
and
sorry,
then share
but
it
don't
out
use
there.
the word powerful. Come up with something different. No, it's a joke that we have because she was just like, I was just like, when you
Amazingly
watch it, I
powerful.
was like, I could see the number one comment you're going to get is powerful.
So
'cause
powerful.
Every
What-
comment on Amazon, every
to
review
me,
has the word
powerful is
powerful
also,
in it.
it usually
there's reviews
means
on Amazon,
it was really
so
hard to
whatever.
watch. Like it
Yeah.
makes you have like it's like, oh shit, like that's some shit. I got to be ready for that because and one of the reasons I didn't want to watch it, right? I'm just like, that's something I need to be
In the right mood for.
Yeah, because I can't I'm not gonna go from watching Will Ferrell to watching this. Like you got to be ready to take some shit in, be serious about something, fucking digest your life, like learn, think about other people. Like this is some shit you need to like invest some time in. And like, I mean, not time, like 'cause it's 22 minutes, but you need to. Don't fuck around and try to watch it. Don't try to watch it in the background. Like sit down with somebody and watch it, or by yourself. But just sit down and watch it.
There's often not applause at the end when
Yeah,
this
and that,
film
as
gets
a filmmaker,
over.
that's weird.
Yeah.
It's very
definitely.
weird because I'm
Yeah,
standing
because
there and
everybody's
like,
sitting
okay.
there thinking like.
But
Jesus
at the end,
Christ.
just you're like, holy shit! Like
Almost silence at the end is almost more powerful.
Yeah.
You are exactly right. And you know what? One of the biggest,
Good job,
And it's like,
other than
I don't know if I should cheer and be happy for what just happened. but
other
it
than
was awesome.
powerful, I've found that silence is deemed because it's called silence. It's a silent video. It's actually a music video, if you want to say short film, whatever. But
Technically, it's
the
just-
the biggest review is that no words are needed. So
Yeah.
so I appreciate
It's powerful.
Watch the shit out of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
But
let's take a break.
So let's make sure
Yeah.
everybody has.
So
a-
thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
silence is all over the place. AWE
yeah.
silence.
Pimp
So
yourself.
look
Do
it up
whatever you
and
need to do.
share
Like I
your
said,
stuff.
Throw
All-
them plugs.
Everyone, check it out. All my listeners.
If
There
you
you
find
go.
me, if you know who I am and you find me, I got cards. I'll pimp you out the information.
We're gonna put it on
Instagram,
Facebook.
Yeah,
People are gonna hear about
Facebook,
it.
share that stuff.
Hey, I know people that are on Facebook
Like
and
it.
Instagram that see me on the street.
Yeah, they need that analog print form.
I got it right here. I got a stack up.
There you
All right.
go. It'll be out there forever, so catch it.
Watch
Yeah.
that shit. Change somebody's life. Do
Well,
something good for once.
Thanks again for coming on because that was a great conversation. Just
Hey, I appreciate you
That's
guys
awesome.
having me.
Yeah.
Thanks
And-
for your support.